After sealing Toka's destructive powers with a kiss, Shidou runs into a girl who trips and falls. Coming to help her up, the girl is seemingly afraid of him. Confused, he notices a puppet and realizing that it's hers, he picks it up to give it back. Surprisingly, it begins talking and introduces themselves as Yoshino and thanks Shidou for helping her before leaving on his way to school. At school, Tohka has made cookies and competes with Origami. In order to settle both girls down, he tries both, but the two continue to argue. The next day, Shidou passes by the shrine where the girl's puppet is seen peeping out from one of the trees. Later at home, Shidou finds Tohka inside the bathroom and is knocked away. Upon asking Kotori why Tohka is here, he learns that Tohka will be living with them since he sealed her powers, or Kotori and Rain explain he still has to assist in sealing more spirits. As such, Kotori tricks Shidou into replacing a light bulb, causing Shidou to accidentally run into Tohka. Later, Shidou is forced to take the first bath by Kotori, but realizes that Kotori had arranged for Tohka to unknowingly head there as well. Upon finding Shidou inside, an embarrassed Tohka begins to comically punish him. The next morning, Shidou wakes up and realizes he's in Tohka's room, where she begins to throw things at him. Regardless, at school, a Spacequake alarm sounds off where Tami advises the students to proceed to the safe shelter. Confused, Tohka asks what's happening, to which Shidou explains Spacequakes. Aboard Fraxinus, Shidou is shown a zoomed-in visible image of a spirit, surprised to find out that it's the girl he encountered yesterday, where they codename her Hermit. Kotori then tells Shidou that unlike most spirits, she's super passive. Suddenly, the AST arrive and begin firing. Shocked at what the AST is doing, Kotori reminds him that the AST will do anything against a spirit. However, the AST loses her, but the Fraxinus crew finds her in a closed mall, where Kotori transports Shidou to the location. Upon being advised by Kotori, a reluctant Shidou eventually remarks that he's just passing by and introduces himself. Meanwhile, at the school's shelter, a worried Tohka wonders why Shidou would leave, but Tami reassures her that he will be fine. To her surprise, Tohka is gone, realizing that she had ran off to look for him. Outside the mall, AST members await Hermit to exit, while Ryuko ponders about a new transfer to Raisin High, who looks exactly like Hermit. Back inside the mall, Yoshino falls and lands on Shidou, resulting in their lips touching. It then gets up with Shidou apologizing for what just happened. Suddenly, as Kotori tries to alert him, he finds Tohka standing nearby. As such, she angrily asks Shidou what he just did and angrily remarks that he made her worry just to see another girl. With Tohka's current mental condition, her spirit powers begin to return to her. Shidou then tries to explain, but Tohka interjects when Yoshino taunts her about Shidou choosing her over Tohka, provoking Tohka to escalate the situation even more. Shidou is then briefed by Kotori that now the condition of Hermit is starting to decrease rapidly, so Shidou asks Tohka to give the puppet back. Suddenly, Yoshino calls forth her angel Zadkiel and causes everything around to freeze. As such, Kotori orders Shidou and Tohka to leave immediately, but Yoshino starts attacking Tohka. Luckily, Shidou is able to save Tohka in time. The girl then tears the place apart before leaving, but is spotted by the AST. Thus, Zadkiel causes a sudden burst of snow to erupt, allowing her to escape without notice. With Hermit no longer in their sights, Ryuko orders the AST squad to return back to base. Back with Shidou, he asks Tohka if she's alright, where she tells Shidou to her alone, still upset about the earlier misunderstanding. At the Itsuka residence, Tohka is still upset over what happened before. Meanwhile, at the local shrine, Hermit stands silently alone with her puppet missing. Later, Rain guesses Tohka's problem involves Shidou and Hermit, but Tohka admits that she herself is not really sure why she's in such a foul mood. Nevertheless, Shidou, having gone grocery shopping, surprisingly encounters Yoshino. He calls out to her, but she starts running away. However, he notices she's missing her puppet. Back at the diner, Tohka expresses she doesn't care who Shidou is with since it's none of her business, but adds that she felt awful when she saw Shidou with Yoshino. She then continues to tell Rain that it made her feel sad and scared more than anything she's gone through. Back with Shidou, he figures out that Yoshino lost her puppet during the encounter with AST. It's then revealed that the girl's name is actually Yoshino, as the puppet is really Yoshino. As such, the two continue to search for Yoshino until her stomach growls, so Kotori contacts Shidou and tells him to take a break and eat, so it gives him time to ask Yoshino questions. After eating, Shidou asks Yoshino why she never fights back against the AST, where she responds by saying that she doesn't like violence. Shidou then pets her head and proclaims that he is here to protect her and says that he is her hero now. Moved, Yoshino thanks Shidou for his kindness, but then tries to kiss her to seal Yoshino's power. However, Tohka arrives and catches them, much to his dismay. Back in her room, Tohka lets her anger out on her pillow. Later, Shidou visits Origami, but as the two talk, Shidou's communication with Kotori gets mysteriously broken up. Upon reaching Origami's room, it suddenly swings open where he sees Origami wearing a maid's outfit. Inside, Origami begins taking a shower, so he looks through every corner of her room amidst various sussy scenes, and is able to find Yoshino. However, Origami finishes her shower where Shidou is completely embarrassed. He later tells her that he has talked to spirits before, much to her horror and disbelief. However, he only tells her that not all spirits are as bad as she thinks, like Tohka and Yoshino. Regardless, she responds by saying the spirits are still the cause of the spacequakes. After Origami's phone rings, she leaves immediately, where she tells him that no matter what, she has to follow orders. Meanwhile, Yoshino gets cornered by Ryuko, causing her to summon Zadkiel, where the surroundings begin to freeze and ASD members get frozen as well, leaving only Origami and Ryuko to chase after Yoshino. Suddenly, after hearing Shidou, she stops, but just as she was about to reunite with Yoshino, Origami fires at her. From afar, Tohka sees what's happening but is unable to summon Sandalphon. After many failed attempts, Tohka finally summons her angel just in time, protecting Shidou from Zadkiel. Shidou then clears up their misunderstanding and reveals that Yoshino is a spirit as well. As such, he pleads Tohka to help him since he can't do it on his own. Meanwhile, a blizzard has erupted from Yoshino's angel. Origami, however, lifts a nearby building, using it to strike the moment the blizzard goes down. Unfortunately, a mysterious energy destroys the building as Tohka is revealed to be the cause, where Origami immediately engages her in a duel. As Tohka distracts them, Shidou continues on toward the blizzard to Yoshino, despite Kotori's pleas for him not to. Upon seeing Shidou fall down, Yoshino runs to him as his wounds begin to heal themselves, where she's relieved to see him and Yoshino, causing her to cry. Shidou then reassures her that everything will be fine, but he must kiss her in order to do so. As such, Yoshino stands up and kisses him. Afterwards, Yoshino's astral dress and blizzard disappears. The next day, Kotori reveals a special housing unit for the spirits, saying that both Tohka and Yoshino will now live there. Itsuka's siblings then turn around and see Yoshino, where Shidou happily greets her. The next day, Ryuko and her ASD squad are under attack by a mysterious group as she yells at how this all happened. Earlier that day, Kotori decides to make an arrangement to head to a hot spring. When asked which one, Shidou suggests the Tengu Paradise Hot Springs. Kanazuki agrees on the destination, but Kotori suspects his suggestion, so she asks him what he's really after, revealing his very sussy nature. As punishment, he must continually dig a hole and refill it. At the Camp Tengu military base, Ryuko is briefed that a group from DEM are being deployed to observe their techniques on dealing with spirits. At her office, she expresses her delight over a trip, but their trip gets cancelled, causing her to be frustrated towards spirits. However, her subordinate suggests she go to the local hot springs instead. Excited, Ryuko thanks her. Elsewhere, Shidou calls Origami and asks if he called a book he borrowed from her, but she just asks why. As he's about to explain, she hears Tohka's voice, accidentally giving away where they're heading, much to Origami's jealousy. Later, Shidou pets Yoshino's head, so Tohka asks Shidou to pet her as well. Unfortunately, he couldn't since she's up front, causing Tohka to continually complain. Yoshino then asks Shidou to pet her as well, making Tohka more jealous, so she accidentally breaks a hole into the floor. Meanwhile, the ASD squad is forced to go on foot due to a random cave-in. Shidou and the rest also have to go on foot, but behind them, the ASD appears, so the Fraxinus crew decide to attack the AST before they spot them. Thus, the AST are blocked of their possible routes, but Origami spots a side road that they could take. Meanwhile, Shidou spots someone familiar, and to his surprise, he finds Kotori, where she reveals that she was only making sure Shidou was doing his job properly. However, Shidou offers her to tag along, so she happily accepts. On the other hand, ASD uses an explosive to clear the blockade, so Kotori orders her crew to stop them. As Shidou and the gang peacefully continue to the hot springs, a missile suddenly explodes, causing Yoshino to blast off, so Yoshino begins crying. This causes the area to rain and freeze up, so Shidou goes off to find the puppet. Kotori then gives the crew permission to use destroy mode, where all traps simultaneously open fire on the AST, causing Ryuko to completely lose her mind. Through the mayhem Ryuko is causing, Shidou finds Yoshino, but a giant bomb barrels towards him. Shidou is luckily saved by Tohka before the bomb exploded. Outside the shield, 3 of Ryuko's troops spot Tohka, but before they could attack, the 2 randomly disappears. A while later, Ryuko happily announces that she now feels better after all that happened. As for Shidou and the rest, it finally reached the hot springs, but Yoshino's head falls off, much to Yoshino's horror. Meanwhile, Ryuko and her troops also finally reach the hot springs, but they see the water suddenly freeze up. With the hot springs unusable, Kanazuki reports he was somehow able to dug up hot springs, so the group head there instead. As they finally relax, Kotori tells Shidou that she has a mission for him to do soon.